Hi, friends. It's Michael Butler here, host of the Author Spotlight. I'm your host today, as every Sunday, and I'm from BeyondPublishing.net, where we reside in office in Frisco, Texas, just outside of Dallas, Texas. And I must say, going through the pandemic, I'm just really proud of our team working from home. We've brought dozens and dozens of books, I think 36 books to market in the last couple of weeks and months. And then we've got about 25 more launching in the coming weeks. So if you've got a book, we need to talk. But I'm so excited about our next guest because, you meet people and you realize that they are movers and shakers, they're world changers. And I met the host of the World Women Conference a few months ago. It was actually right before the pandemic. And she was at City Gala City Summit with her team. She's originally from Estonia, which is in Europe. And I had the opportunity to visit that beautiful country a few years ago. But let me just tell you what the World Women Conference does, is they gather together inspiring women of leadership from around the world, all 7 continents of the world. And their aim is to bring women together to provide service. They are professionals, NGOs, educators, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. And they're giving women their voice. Have you noticed that there's some amazing things happening globally with women? They host our next guest, Ragne Sinikas, hosts the World Women Conference and the World Women Awards. Let me just go ahead and bring her on. She just wrapped up 100 interviews, entrepreneurial interviews since the pandemic. And I'm really proud to have her on the show today, the Author Spotlight. Ragne, great to have you here today. How are you?
Great, Michael. It's an absolute honor to be here. I'm very grateful to really talk about what we have been doing, and obviously to see you again. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise, you as well and your team. Now, you're based in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Our last guest, Samantha Buckley-Hugeson, and you're doing some amazing things there. You were all gung-ho and rolling out your event in Atlanta, which you had to go virtual. But I was really happy to see that you did something innovative as an entrepreneur yourself. You have, I believe, your MBA in business and some other things. I didn't go fully into your bio because it's so long, but I did include it on the website and the social media. But tell me, what was the reason for going virtual? With congratulations on 100 interviews as of Friday from around the world. What was the purpose there?
The purpose is very simple. The day that all pandemic hit, and it was the end of March, when on one Friday I received like 5 calls in a row. And everybody was very concerned about their future, and everybody was sort of looking for a guidance. And those people were from mindset up to financing. Everybody was just freaking out. They said, "Oh my God, I'm a part of the network where there's so many people that have that knowledge and could share with all those people which were actually seeking out and seeking for help." So I called my team and said, "You know what, starting from Monday, we are going to do this." And then they're like, "It's Friday afternoon. Are you sure?" Yes.
Are you sure?
So we were ready on Monday, and since we are starting tomorrow our 11th week. So we have done the shows every single day, twice a day, from Monday till Friday. And one is in English and the other one is in Spanish to support the local community here in Los Cabos, and obviously all Latin countries that now have joined us. And I have to admit that because being in a network with Ladies of All International, then with you, Michael, Beyond Publishing, we joined our forces, and the result is incredible, to be honest, because there has been so many cases already where we see that just by listening 1 hour a day, someone can really change your life. and you never know who is also watching it. So we actually have some cases where someone who was watching now is publishing their book in Estonia, and all the seeds are going to support the association which helps kids to be educated. So those are the success stories, and I'm really proud of every single person who has participated. And obviously my gratitude to every single speaker, coach, and author who has really joined us and shared their knowledge with us.
Well, you said a mouthful right there. You talked about empowering young entrepreneurs. You talked about being innovative as a business leader, being able to act decisively and quickly. Some people that come from a corporate background and mindset have to go through so many committees, and it takes forever in the bureaucracy to make changes. You saw, as the leader of this movement of women, that you don't have 72 hours to waste. We've got to make a decision. We've got to go live starting Monday. And you did that. And I applaud you for that. What would you say to a leader that maybe didn't make that move? It reminds me of, and of course, I'm not a Navy man. I'm not a captain of a ship. I can barely swim, let alone man a boat. But what would you say to a business being like a boat? I mean, a lot of people took on water. There's a lot of businesses that are going out of business, unfortunately, as a result of the pandemic. But maybe somebody didn't shift as quickly as you did, but there's still hope for their business to survive. Or even somebody that's wanting to start a business right now. What advice would you give?
Number one, speed of implementation. Whatever you think, don't think anymore. Start to act. Number two is that you need to understand that by just waiting and hoping that someone else is going to fix your problems, it's not going to happen. And this is not entrepreneurship. If you are a leader like that, then you need to go back to basic and start with leadership really starts within. And if you are not really sure who you are, if you have the mindset of victim and just having the very good excuses, which everybody have them, and especially now, like everybody also celebrate those excuses because yes, there's no work. Yes,
Good point. That's a good point. Now, you grew up in Estonia, and for those that don't know, Estonia was under Soviet rule for a long time. I don't remember what year was it that the Soviet domination of the Baltics pulled out and you were free to speak Estonian again.
92. I actually remember that very vividly because I was 10 and I could understand what was going on. My brother was 7 at the time, and he was like, we were literally hours and hours standing as a human chain. And he was like, why do we have to stand here? And my parents were like, for our freedom. And he's like, what freedom? Like, we're here, nobody is here. So he didn't understand. But that was but yeah, that's something very unique, which I think nobody can really have that experience ever in your life.
I saw a lot of pride in the Estonian people 4 years later when I came in '96 to speak and to spend 2 weeks there. And I got to tell you that they were so proud of their heritage. And so when I spoke at the university, they were translating into Russian, Finnish, and Estonian. So it took forever. You would say a sentence and you'd come back in about 20 minutes. You'd be like, I'm going to go get some lunch. I'll come back, give you the name. It was like one of those deals, but so much pride there. And I think for, right now you get a lot of fake news in the media. You get a lot of, you're trying to decide what's real, what's fake. But what I hear you saying is, as an entrepreneur, you've got to call the shots and speed of implementation. I think, let me ask you, did growing up in Estonia and seeing that amazing shift, did that help you become an entrepreneur?
For sure, because we always had to come up with ideas how to fix things, because we were never taught to do so. We didn't have really examples of leadership. Like, where did we really? My parents were just employees, so
okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you if either of them were entrepreneurs, but you didn't have that opportunity, right?
No, not at all. So my mother, actually, she's the front lighter today. She's she's the head of some units in the hospital. So she has taught me to always just go and help without asking anything in return. So that has been the greatest advice that she has ever given, and this is up to the date I do so.
Well, it's really amazing because once you have freedom, and for those that didn't grow up, I had friends from Poland that they can remember as kids waiting in line for toilet paper, and basically they ration the meat, they ration the flour, they ration the milk, and literally hired somebody to stand in line for Christmas to buy their younger brother a bike. They had to pay somebody to wait in line for 3 days to get a bicycle. And I don't think we realize sometimes the amazingness of being able to have that freedom to start your business, which brings me to starpreneurs. We talked about this yesterday a little. You just finished 100 entrepreneurial interviews, and for those that host interviews occasionally, like myself, it's a lot of work. You see somebody on the screen, but they don't realize all the work that goes into the back end of producing a show, and you're doing it twice a day in English and in Spanish. So I just applaud you. You've had people from all over the planet, and you've changed their lives, and you're inspiring people. But I wanted to ask you, who are starpreneurs? What is Starpreneurs TV, and why do you like working with starpreneurs?
Starpreneurs became my passion because as you already understand, I'm always innovative. I want to disrupt. I want to do things not better but different. So I was thinking that how can I find the people that their voice needs to be heard, and they have their stories, and there are incredible stories, the untold stories by those hidden heroes, no? So and then I was like, okay, and when I find them, what then? So I started to really tap into, like, okay, what the TV really does, because everybody is now in social media, everybody is in YouTube, everybody is in those channels, but there's so many people that do not watch, or they even don't have an account in social media. Right. And the YouTube for me is like I just don't use that channel. So I was thinking, like, okay, what those people are doing, so TV. And I came across, and as they say, that nothing in this world just happens by chance. And I met a great person, which basically showed me the way how I can take those untold stories and hidden heroes and make them tell them their story and do it on TV. So this is Starpreneurs.
Beautiful. Starpreneurs TV. So you're looking for amazing stories, and you're gathering stories now. In fact, yesterday you shared with me a book that you're working on, 11 Secrets to Become a Fascinating Leader. And I was fascinated by that concept, and we talked at length about it. But everybody does have a story, and too many times stories go untold. And you're basically building a platform where you can feature these amazing stories. Let me ask you two questions. What intrigues you about inspiring women leaders? And then also, why did you choose Atlanta for your first conference as the city to host your first conference?
Oh, the Atlanta, like, things never happen without reason. So everything started to play out the way, and I met an incredible person there, Lakeisha James, which she's the chapter leader now for the World Women Conference and Awards there, and she was just so helpful, and she gave me all the good reasons why we should do it there, and that's why really that's why it's all about the people and the warm welcome which I got from them. So that's the main reason why we are doing it there.
Well, I think it's very powerful, and I see your model of empowering women and empowering women within communities around the globe. So is there an opportunity for women to start chapters for you around the globe? What's the vision for everything you're doing?
Yes, our vision is to impact in local communities, and we can't reach everywhere. So in order to really understand the needs of each community, yes, we need the community leaders, because they are the feedback that we need in order to understand, like the need in Los Cabos, Mexico, to empower women is totally different than, for example, in Atlanta. So in order to really understand where the needs are, we need the local chapters.
Well, and I love what you're doing, because you've been blogging a lot on worldwomenconference.com, and you really put your money where your mouth is, and your time. You've been really empowering the local young entrepreneurs, particularly the women, and particularly businesses in the pandemic. I love the title, How to Dominate the Decade Under the Current Circumstances. Did you take branding in college? Has branding always been a part of your brain? Because that's just a brilliant way to position yourself, I think.
No, actually, that particular title was a combination of, I'm a co-author in a book which is Dominate the Decade. And then I was like, okay, we can dominate the decade, but what about the circumstances that are affecting us? And so many people become the victims of those circumstances. So that was just connecting the two dots, which is how to do it like evergreen, and how do we really need to shift and change in order to survive the circumstances.
You know, I really love the idea of co-authoring a book with other entrepreneurs. In fact, I know you're part of Dr. Angelica Underwood's book, From Zero to Success, Secrets of Master Entrepreneurs. That's the English version. I will let you say it in Spanish. You say it much better than I do.
De cero al éxito.
Secretos de Empresarios Maestros.
Maestros, okay. Yeah.
So dominating the decade and co-authoring a book. And I know there's a number, you're one of the contributing authors to that book. Really getting the message out to the world. What do you think? The internet is still pretty young, and someone could basically decide to start an online business working from home, and could basically have a business in profit within the first week, working from home with no overhead. And so kind of give us an idea of coaching. What are some of the services you provide at World Women Conference and Starpreneurs TV, Ragne? And then maybe toward the end of the interview, you can tell us a little bit about the type of author you're looking for to be a co-author in your book along the lines of entrepreneurship.
So if we deconstruct everything, then leadership starts within. And that means that you need to know yourself in order to lead others. And this is where we start. We help you to get to that point. And that's why there's two possibilities to really shine with us. One, if you just need the help to become one, then our coaches and speakers and authors will help you. But if you are one of those fascinating leaders that are investing their time and their efforts to empower women, then obviously you need to join us, because we are always looking not just to make things better, we want to make things different. So that's why the fascinating leaders started to surface, and I really saw that we need to do things differently, just to be ahead of the game with a mindset that I just need to tweak it little here, and then I'm better, and then I'm head of a competition. We are not going to change anything with that mindset, because we can be on the surface for a second, and then we are again looking back. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that through coaching, everybody needs to coach. And if you still don't have it, then the quickest way. The quickest way to really start a business is that look for a coach who has done it, who has the results, and they can take you to this end result that you are looking. I think, Michael, you actually froze. Let me see if I froze as well. I think my picture still is alive. I don't know about the rest. Okay. So until Michael is going to join us again, then I would like to share a little more about the book that we are actually looking forward to launch. And if you are the fascinating leader that wants to share your teachings, wants to really, really help the community, wants to have her or his message out in front of the people, then please contact me. And also the second thing is that not only the book, but also the Starpreneurs, which is hello.
Sorry, we had a little hiccup, a technical glitch where the computer just rebooted. How conveniently, but we found you can keep talking. This happened yesterday. I was in a meeting and I left a couple associates in here talking while I went off to another meeting and shut off the computer, and it kept recording in the cloud. But what I was saying though is I see what you're doing is you're developing local leaders in local markets like Atlanta and other cities, but then you're also doing global events. But I wanted to share a little bit about the awards where you're recognizing powerful women in leadership at the World Women Conference 2020 Gala. And I want you to give us a little bit of update about this, but you recognize outstanding contributions and achievements of women around the world. You recognize young women who are leading the way in their chosen field and making outstanding contribution. So give us a little idea on what's on the horizon for 2020 and 2021, both virtually and in person, as things start to open back up.
Actually, it's very exciting because we have established a collaboration now with Millionaire Human. So we are going to have that project launched very soon. What it is, then you need to follow us. And Simon Rosenberg is the team member and World Women's Advisory Board. So
we had Dr. Simon on just last week. So Dr. Simon Rosenberg, for those of you that don't know, is a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon from Austria, and his father is was a world-renowned psychologist and writer of nonviolent communication that the UN and many global governments use to quell some of the hot spots and civil unrest around the world, where he would come in and teach and actually help negotiate. So now tell me, how did you, since you're here, Ragne, how did you connect with Dr. Simon?
With Simon, we met in last year, actually, in one event in Los Angeles. We have the same mentor that we share.
Oh, I got you. There you go.
We had one of his events, and it's all about really, really about your personal growth. So you want to take part of the events, and you meet incredible people and those people can change your life. So be part.
Hey, Ragne, that's how we met. That's how I met you. That's how I met Dr. Simon. That's how I met Manali with the Alamo Foundation that you're a part of, that you and I and Dr. Simon are a part of, and we'll hear more about that in the future. So getting back to real events, when do you think you'll be having your first big breakout global event now, or is it too soon to tell with the pandemic?
Well, our aim is 2021. We really haven't changed the let's say the date, because we always aim for March 2021. So far this is still to go, and most probably depending now how the different states and countries are opening up, we might start to do smaller things and actually more a experience type of events, not that much of a conference.
Well, I know you're going to be speaking on our stage at the Beyond Publishing stage in Guadalajara, December 3rd through the 5th. And on the back end of the book show, the world's second largest book show, you'll be launching a number of books. You'll be involved with Dr. Angelica's book, and so excited about that. But then you'll also be launching your book, 11 Secrets to Becoming a Fascinating Leader. What is a fascinating leader? As you look for fascinating leaders, what's one characteristic that really stands out to you?
You need to know yourself, and leadership really starts within. So if you do not really understand who you are, and I always say that if you don't understand any other example, then the best example is that 95% of people have taken the airplane. And in the airplane, what do they say? First,
Save yourself first.
First, put the mask on yourself in order to be able to help others. And that's the same with personal growth, leadership, whether you are leading with a title or you're just leading your own life. Everything starts within. And if the within is broken, the external life is not going to work.
Well, that's very powerful. I know you're working on that book. We're going to be publishing that book before the year's end. But what kind of leader, you spoke to me briefly yesterday as we were kind of doing some show prep in the green room and talking about some of these plans that you've got coming out. And I was applauding you on celebrating your 100th entrepreneurial interview. You've interviewed A-list actors from around the globe. You've interviewed billionaires from startup companies. And it's been pretty exciting to watch your journey in the last 90 days. So thank you so much for all that. You talked about mind, emotion, spiritual health, and physical health. You talked about the importance to be in shape physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And I think that's huge. What type of co-author are you looking for to make famous in this women's anthology where you're going to feature some of your top leading women?
I think that the main topic for this book is really have the connection with our minds and with our heart. So the leadership needs to shift from the mind to the heart. And wherever we see those things happening, we see very different results. So if you are a leader who really understands the importance of emotional intelligence, then please contact me, and I would love to have you with me in that book.
Yeah, and I know you've got some global stages. We've got some global stages coming up, like South Africa, Guadalajara, New York, Frankfurt, Germany, in different places. Not to mention the virtual stages. A lot of our authors have started during the pandemic their podcast, and so they're looking for guests to interview. We've published 350 titles in the last 2.5 years. And so what that did was a lot of authors that were speaking have created coaching programs, and also doing virtual stages like I'm interviewing right now is really valuable. And I think even more effective way, because nobody has to get on a plane, and you can have 500 or more entrepreneurs at once hearing your talk, learning from your lecture, and then also buying your digital product. So I'm excited about the book because, your authors are going to have their bio in there. They're going to have their chapter in there. They're really what they're rock star expert at in the area of leadership. And then you're going to be blasting them out on a virtual and literal global stage, and we will as well. So what's the best way, Ragne, for women that want to be a part of this leadership or just to learn more to contact you?
The best way is just send me an email, ragne@worldwomanconference.com.
Okay. I'm going to put that up.
And obviously check out our website, which is www.worldwomanconference.com. And on Monday, the Starpreneurs TV website is going to be live as well. And all those exciting possibilities how to work with us are going to be available there. So I really, really urge you to take part, because the first set of entrepreneurs that we will accept will go through the sort of review, and then we will start to work with those incredible, fascinating leaders. And one more comment: if you think that you just heard the leadership, that means that for me, the leadership, which starts within, has 4 core areas. And actually, Michael was kind enough to mention them, but for you as well to really understand. One is the mindset, which is the psychology. Other is the emotional connection, emotional intelligence, but also the soul and the health, which we usually do not see those things in one balance. And if you are a great expert on any of those areas or core areas, then please contact me.
Well, Ragne, that's going to be great. And what we're going to do as a bonus, your first 4 authors that come on board with you for that, is we're actually going to put them up at no additional cost on the Global Elite Speakers Bureau and feature them for the first 3 months until the book launches. They'll be featured on the top pages of that website along with you, because I just love what you're doing and I believe in what you're doing. And so once again, I'm going to put your contact information up. Let's be sure I've got everything spelled correctly. I don't speak as many languages as you, and I appreciate the fact that you've been global for a long time. You've inspiring women for a long time. You're making it happen. I'm glad you made the quick shift during the pandemic, and I've just heard a lot of positive feedback from people all over the planet, from Malaysia, from Europe, from your home country of Estonia, but all over the Latin American countries as well. What I want to close out with people, as you close out as well, is if you're an entrepreneur in 2020, you need to expect to make a global impact, because we're connected. And your brand, your message, if it works in your home country, it will work globally. So follow people like Ragne, follow Ragne. And Ragne, what are your closing thoughts for everybody?
Be true to yourself, believe in yourself, and don't be afraid to take action. And
that's exactly what you did.
With excuses, like, don't do that.
That's exactly what you did. You took action, and we're so glad that you did. And thank you, friends, for joining us on the Author Spotlight. This has been your host, Michael D. Butler, Beyond Publishing from Dallas, Texas. And our guest was Ragne, and she's in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. So reach out and be a part of everything she's doing. Thanks for being with us, Ragne.
Thank you,